Hello and welcome to ZSR2 and the Majora's Mask MoonCrash ADR Tournament 2021. We are in Winners Bracket Round 2, Zeepo versus ClaireLynnD, and on commentary we have Druck. How are you doing?
Doing great, how are you?
Good. Just getting the scenes switched over and I'll be sending them off right now.
Okay. Alright, racers have started. So, it's always fair to start out with an introduction to the category. It's one of the more niche categories. All dungeons restricted. It's a category that is basically what used to be any percent way back in the day. It has been repurposed to all dungeons just because any percent nowadays uses SRM and on top of that, ACE. If you don't know what those are, they're busted glitches, and they are both banned. And all dungeons restricted, that is. In addition to those glitches, we also ban equip swap. And what's the other one? I keep forgetting. It's the hidden owl one, we call that index warp. Index warp allows us to warp to owls that we have not hit yet. And the other one, let me just mute one of these real quick. Equip swap allows us to, there we go. Equip swap allows us to basically skip the entirety of Pirate's Fortress and Hookshot. It's a lot harder, but it's a lot faster. It saves about 15, actually it might be down to like 14 or 15 minutes compared to what we call All Dungeons Standard, which does not ban those two glitches, but still bans ACE and SRM. So, it's a niche category. There's a lot more of the game that you see even compared to All Dungeons Standard. Yep, Index Warp. If you like Index Warp, you can still see it in All Dungeons Standard runs. Same with Equip Swap. But why would you ever want to skip Pirate's Fortress? Oh man, both winners are tied, it looks like. Can hardly believe it. It's like we've only had text so far. We are in what we call first cycle. Well, more or less. This is more so introduction. In all categories, this is unskippable, even with the all-powerful ACE and SRM glitches. For better or for worse. Oh, good job, BXR. Thank you. Welcome, Corpser. How are you? Alright, pay attention, folks. Gameplay is on its way. For about 10 seconds. Okay, both have good starts. Looks like only one of them went for log skip. Unless I missed Claire doing it. Zeepo went for log skip. That's a little trick. I'm sure it saves just a couple frames, really. As the trick implies, the name implies, you just skip a log by going on one of the mushrooms on the side of the jump, which still has collision. That's about all I know about it. I don't think I've ever done it before. If I knew the words word for word in English, I might translate, but I do not, so I will save you the context. Who will defeat Majora first? Is that what it is? Ooh, that's a good question. Ah, their PBs are within a minute of each other, so it's really, really hard to tell. And one is much closer to today's date. Anyone's guess, I would say. Both of these runners are I would say they're some of the top runners of the game. So it really is anyone's guess. What? Only 10 points to Claire? We gotta change that. There we go. Ooh, now we're talking. I don't have that many. There we go, that's a little more evened out. Alright. They both went for the lower flower. That saves a couple frames at least. Versus going for the flower up top. Will they both get something called Tattle text skip coming up? Tattle has a little bit of text for this flower coming up. Zeepo got it, Claire did not. But they're still relatively on pace with each other. This is the big question right here, whether or not both of them will get HMS skip. HMS skip is a trick in which you pause over and over again to prevent the Happy Mask Salesman cutscene from playing. And you have to continue these pauses from the trigger of the cutscene up until you get into the load zone, or at least a frame before that, so that the load zone can overtake the cutscene. This is possible because cutscenes require 2 frames to initiate. So as long as you only let 1 frame pass before interrupting it, you're home free. Every time. And they both got it. GG. Zeepo going for the side hop movement. He tries to pride himself on good movement. Claire going for the standard spins. Zeepo trying to go for the back walk, but got a bad angle on the flower, unfortunately. So, about that first cycle, I have plenty of time to talk with it. No worries whatsoever. So, 3 days you have to go through, you have to wait until the clock tower door opens. This allows us to get the Ocarina of Time, which is the main item which allows us to get back into human form. However, waiting takes forever, so instead of waiting, we do our best to skip ahead in time. First by going to Grandma, listening to her stories until day 3, and then to the Scarecrow, of whom we dance with, until night 3. All of these cutscenes are cutscenes that we would have to see anyways. Well, I guess that's not necessarily true, but we'd still need a fairy at some point, so to speak. So, they're dancing away. Everything's still pretty close. We do need to get one item in this category before going to see good old Majora on the clock tower. That is magic. That's where that stray fairy I mentioned earlier comes into play. Stray fairy can be in one of 2 locations, depending on if it's night or day. Nighttime, it so happens to be in East Clocktown. We also use this time to get rupees, just because we had the time to do it. The rupees are going to be coming from the Terminafield bushes. But if you're new to this game, you might wonder how we're going to get out. The guards always block the ways. That's simple. This guard over here is offset just a little bit to the left, or to the right, which means if we go back walk to the left side, we can make it through. Just barely. Preferably you get 90 rupees, that saves some time on the banker text. It's just less frames you have to hit down from scrolling from 0 to 9, or whatever number that would be past 9, whether it's 8, 7, or 6. That's an extra scroll. And if they do get 90 rupees, that means that they can go directly from the next cycle when it starts in front of the clock tower to the banker and then get rupees from the banker, instead of going the entire way up to the 90 rupee chest or having to get the 20 rupee chest. The 20 rupee chest is in South Clocktown, and that is, you need to do a little bit of a fancy jump to get up to it. Jump and a jump slash. It's basically if you're looking towards the guard, to the left up on some roof. The 100 rupee chest is over in East Clocktown, and we would typically have to go all the way around the casual way as human. This is the only way to get it casually without Zora Mask or hovering up, which would be quite a waste. Looks like they're both a little tight on rupees right now. What are they gonna do? Claire ending up with 66 before having to go back to North Clocktown. There are some rupees over there if she chooses. Oh, she's going for extra grasses. Okay. Zeepo barely getting 81, then getting the Keton grass. The Keton is constant. You will always get green rupees from them, unless you destroy them all with the spin attack, with a great spin attack, in which case you will get a red rupee. But we don't have that, so we can't do it. We don't even have a sword. Zeepo just barely getting 90 rupees. Claire settling with 78. The goal would be to get 90 rupees, of course. Again, 1 for the scroll and 2 for what we're getting. The bomb bag itself is going to be 50 rupees, and usually when I get a shoes on top of that, that's 40. Add that together, that's 90, obviously. So we do need a minimum of 90 for this category, regardless of where you get them. In future trips, you're not going to be getting a bomb bag anymore, though, so a full... Well, you can still use 90 rupees, or 99 rupees to get everything. Bombs are going to be 30 rupees each. So that's 2 sets of bombs, because they only come in quantities of 10 from the shop. So that's 60 right there, with the 40 from the choose. That's 100 rupees. But we had this thing called Speedrunners discount. The bomb shop gives us this secret discount only for those who can buy the final thing they need to buy before the rupee counter goes too low. Okay, so Claire did go back for more North Clocktown Keaton Grass rupees. Looks like would have been 87 there, but I think the grass is going to respawn, so she should be back up to over to 90 after this cutscene here. You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Going directly to the to the banker in next cycle, instead of going for that 100 rupee chest in East Clocktown, saves a fair amount of time. So it's probably worth going for them. Maybe. Depends on how you look at it. If I had to approximate, I would say that Zeepo is about 30, 40 seconds ahead, I think. But I'm not the greatest with estimates, so take that with a grain of salt. Make that more like 23-ish. Yep, that cutscene just it reloads everything. It's like it needs to load up South Clocktown for the cutscene itself. So when you go back to North Clocktown, it's like you're going through a different load zone. I didn't realize that either. Alright, 16:23 Ocarina time for Zeepo. That's pretty good. And a 16:47 for Claire. A fair time. Everything is still relatively close for this category. If I know Zeepo, we're going to see some new strats that you might not have seen by anybody yet. One that he developed earlier on about a week ago or two, I think. Just a slightly faster way of doing a certain hover. That'd be in Pirate's Fortress, so we had that to look forward to. I don't know if Claire will be going for that strat. I also don't know if they used that strat in the last race, so should have asked around. Here we are, the Ocarina of Time, right after learning the Song of Time from a memory. Claire not too far behind. We are nearing the end of the cutscenes of dreaded first cycle. If you're like me, you still consider this part that Zeepo's going through a part of first cycle. It doesn't end until you get human. That's just how it is. It's not accurate though, of course. Just a matter of when the cutscenes end and gameplay begins. the real gameplay. Alrighty, we're finally getting past it. One more cutscene on Zeepo's end. I'm going to explain a bit of the routing for the rest of this category. It differs quite a bit from, say, All Dungeons Standard, where you have the hidden owl and the index warping, and you're allowed to warp to any owl based off of what maps you have been on. It makes it trivial to go to any part of the game. Without that, however, we need a lot of special overworld routing. And we do that by way of alternate exits, specifically in fairy fountains, for this category anyways. What that is start out with a little bit of information for the fairy fountains. All of the fairy fountains, regardless of whatever one you go into, they're all loaded. Not graphically, but their collision and their loading zones are all loaded. And what makes it a little better is that they're all side by side. Now you have to travel some distance to get to one or the other, typically by hovering. I don't know of any other method to go across except for maybe Goron Missile, but that's beyond this run. So, what you do is, say, generally we start by going after the Zora Mask. The Zora Mask is in Great Bay. But that's a little out of the way because we still need to go through other dungeons, get some other items, things, before we do much else there. Well, it's not necessarily the case. We do breeze by there to get Zora Mask, and then we head around over to Ikana after that, before even getting a hookshot. Or, of course, we don't get Garo Mask, which is required casually to get to Ikana. Instead, what we do is we go directly to the Great Bay Fairy Fountain after getting Zora Mask and hitting the appropriate owls. That way we can warp to them after, of course. And we do a hover. We go from the Great Bay Fairy Fountain to the Ikana Fairy Fountain. And then we just walk right out as if we traveled. Hit that L so we can go there later. And then we're on our way to Swamp. So we visit 3 general areas within like a minute or two of gameplay. Great Bay, Ikana, and Swamp. All with the power of alternate exits and a little convenient warp that is it's like a waterfall from a river in Ikana that leads to the swamp. So, those 90 rupees I mentioned, he's getting them out of the bank now on the Zeepo side of things. Again, Claire not too far behind. Very easily could catch up. This is anyone's race. Normally I have to talk to these guards, but instead we can do a little bit of a recoil flip, but Zeepo failed it, so he's gonna have to talk to him anyways. Saves about a second, I would say. But the cost of a bomb, it's worth it in this category. We'll see if Claire gets it. Ooh, interesting movement on Claire's side for me. Alright, we got a super slide on Zeepo's side. Of course, that's just for speed. And on top of that, we have this gate that we have to go over. So we have a small hover. I think Claire does a staircase, but I could be wrong. By staircase, I mean a staircase hover in which you use 2 bombs instead of a chew. And that, of course, will save a chew. We'll see. She just set up. Oh, nope, she's doing bomb and chew as well. Okay. Now Zeepo is going for a Hess, a hyper-extended super slide. It's a little different. Same speed, but you're able to turn without losing speed, basically. Right into the water. going for Maiko. Claire going for the same strat, looks like. And gets it second try. Okay. They're a little tricky. You have to hold something that we call ESS position on a control stick. It's, if you can imagine, you have the dead zone that's around neutral on a control stick. So that, you don't accidentally go up or down or left or right when you're trying to, not even trying to touch the control stick. Right around that dead zone is what we call ESS, and that's when Link does either a shuffle if he's in place, or any other number of things. We use them for various tricks like Hesses. On Zeepo's side, you can see him doing what we call I think it's just Maiko cutscene skip. Normally there's a cutscene there in which Maiko walks right up the beach, but he takes forever, so what we do is we get into a state called time stop. That allows us to initiate cutscenes, but not get stuck in a cutscene, so to speak. And then we're going to walk around. You can see Claire doing it now. So you get in a time stop state with the bomb. You push Maiko up to where he would normally start his walk cutscene. Then you go right to the load zone. You can't pull any bombs, otherwise you would probably super slide in that state. Instead you just run over, then you go right back over. Maiko is in position as if the cutscene ended, and you super slide back, and you play the song. The Song of Healing, of course, that's what initiates this cutscene, so you can get the Zora mask from healing Maiko. Okay. So, after the cutscene's done, we have an owl to get. We have to make sure we hit all the owls that are necessary that we wish to warp back to at some point, and that includes the owl in Great Bay, the owl statue in Great Bay. On Japanese, you are not able to just simply climb up the platform that it's on. That's right in front of the Marine Lab. They actually lowered that platform on English so that you could, but because it's not lowered on English, we have to swim as Zora back. Otherwise, I think there's a chance we might simply go straight for the owl first and then back for Maiko. But that could be slower anyways. It really would depend on the timing. And I'm not sure anybody's really willing to. Okay, so Zeepo just got a super slide. Lever trying to take him out, but fails. And as you can see, that platform is way too tall for Link to climb by himself. We're going to be warping back to this owl later on after we collect the Zora eggs from the pirates. And when we start egg collection, of course. And he's going for... Oh, you got the Zest. Nice. So that is a Zora ESS. A Zora Extended Super Slide, I think is what it's called. You basically hold ESS right as you come up from the Zora swim, and you can continue that speed. Right now, we're going after another owl that we're going to come back to later, after we collect all the eggs and get the reason of the egg collection, New Way Bossa Nova. The reason, of course, is to open the Great Bay Temple. Okay, got the owl, and some extra supplies, bombs, fairy, magic, and arrows, except the arrows they don't load because they don't have a bow, of course. And he's on his way to the Great Bay, very fun. But he's going to try to skip a little trick here if he can. Oh, he's buffering it, interesting. With a Zora high grab. You release swimming, and sometimes people press B right as they come out of the water, especially regardless of the version. And you can just grab it. Otherwise, you would have to do another backup, which would be basically to turn Cumin face away from the ledge, turn Zora, and that will actually raise you up because you're turning Zora. Zora is higher than Cumin, and then you can grab the ledge like that. After that, you have to do a hover to the next island up because you don't have hook shots. And then you're nearly there. Okay, Zeepo just nailed the pillar jump, but he had an awkward angle when he was doing one of the slashes for the setup. But he fixed it. He's going for it. So, got an okay pillar jump, and now he's going to the fairy fountain that's right next to him, which is the, again, as I said, the Ikana fairy fountain. Buffering one of the megas. Interesting. And, alright. After that, you can see the orange background, and Ikana. Another super slide here. Interesting. Getting those extra bombs. And finally getting our third owl, the Ikana owl. Here's an interesting strat if he goes for it. I thought it was too close. There was an attempt there to go for a super swim. Okay, but he got a recoil super swim. That's the backup. So good anyways. Super swims are just a tad faster than just normal swimming. So whenever you can do it for long distances, they're usually optimal to do. There's that load that goes straight to swamp that I mentioned, the waterfall. Grabbing some extra hearts from the grass in front of the gossip stone and away. And we're off to Woods of Mystery. Here we're going to talk to a witch. Talk about how she got injured by the Skull Kid. And then we're going to talk to the other witch to get the red potion. That will be very vital, but we will not be saving the other witch. We're going to be leaving her to fall on the woods. Claire's side of things looks like things are turning a little sour. It looks like she failed the hover once or twice, so now she has to go into here, going into Zora Hall. What that'll do is going to reload the area when you go back out, of course, so that she can get more bombs from one of these pots over here. Alright, she's got enough bombs now. Hopefully she'll have a little better luck. Nice, nailed the Zora high grab, and she's on it. Okay. She's only down one shoe though, so she's not out of it, I would say. Bombs are easy to replenish in this category, at least typically speaking. Shoes are what you're worried about for this first cycle here. You only have so many to spare. And in some routes, it's just too perfect, and you have like little leniency. Alright, so Zeepo got the red potion. Now he's trying to go for a Hess as a Zora, but he messed up the Hess too many times, so he's just gonna walk over. This water is too shallow for Zora to really swim in normally. You can swim in it, but it takes a bit of effort, and it is a glitch. So, there we go. Zora fins are useful for taking out that big Octo. And this is the reason why you got those hearts earlier, so you can take up the damage here. Just soak it up, and uh-oh. Took a little too much damage, now he's got crit cam, so. Crit cam happens when you're at critical health, of course. When you're down to 1 heart, when you have 3 hearts, if I recall correctly. And then, I think it goes up a little bit as you get more hearts, but that's a little beyond the scope of this run. So, why are we here? We have to get another song. This time it's Sonata of Awakening. Our main goal is to make it up to where the monkey is and play it Ocarina as Deku. This is one of the fastest ways to do that. Go right over here, do a quick hover onto the gates. Go across these flowers and into the load zone. Now, the reason he put Zora Mask on there was... It was intentional, first off I will add. Uh-oh. Will he get the clip? Getting a little tight. He did not drop the Decanut. Interesting. Okay, you got it. That ledge is a little clippy. It's very fun. So the reason you put on Zora Mask was to skip a little small cutscene. So the very first time you put on the transformation cutscene, whether it's Zora Mask, Deku Mask, or Goron Mask, you get this extra cutscene that you can't skip. Now, you can skip it whenever you put on that same mask again, but you can skip it by putting on a mask that you've already seen, of course, the cutscene for, and then just mashing it then. Or, no, it doesn't even happen then, I think. You don't even have to mash it, so. Just a little optimization. Claire's doing some rolls. Dropped that Hess earlier on, so the backup is usually just to roll around, unless you have enough bombs to retry the Hess. Alright, Zeepo is coming up on the Sonata splits. Alright, we're going to be heading towards Woodfall Temple after this. But we will not be going into Woodfall Temple yet. There's a small cutscene skip that you can get if you press the ocarina, or I think pause also works, on the right frame after playing Sonata of Awakening. The reason we need Sonata of Awakening is to... Oh, that's interesting, putting Zora mask on to make that easier. We need that to simply raise the temple so that we can actually enter it. However, we can skip that cutscenes by warping over to Great Bay, or anywhere else really, but we go to Great Bay so that we can start our egg collection and then get to Hookshot in addition to that. Hookshot being with the eggs. And making a pit stop to learn Song of Soaring so we can put those owls we got to good use. I believe we have all of the owls we're ever going to collect, just those 3. Or, you know, open, so to speak. Oh, wait, no, I'm missing one. We have one up here coming up. Right in front of the Woodfall Temple. Otherwise, how else would we come back to Woodfall? Zeepo is dangerously at 1 heart. That's always Monka-S, so to speak. It's very stressful just because the camera decides that it's going to do something that you're not expecting at any given time, and it can just completely ruin everything. There's a chance it's just what we call crit cam. That's just what happens. Alright, so Zeepo tried to just curve around that hip loop, is what those bugs are called, but it just didn't work out, so he decided to go with the alternative, the casual method, using Deku Bubbles, or some other method of killing them. So, in addition to warping around, we're also going to do something called bottle duping here. We want 2 duped bottles, and we're going to be duping them over sticks and Deku Nuts, of which we already have one earlier and have dropped it. So it's pretty simple. You have both of the ones that you want. Get the owl, of course. Both items that you want out. You have an empty bottle, so we're going to drink the red potion that we had earlier to get an empty bottle, and put a fairy in it. We need something that we just caught, so that way the bottle remains in hand. Very important. The trick does not work without it. Then we hold that ESS position. Then we tap both the bottle on 1 frame, the fairy in this case, and then we tap the thing that we're trying to dupe over, whether it's sticks or Deku Nuts or something else. And then you have performed an ESS dupe. It's 1 frame after the other. ESS, the fairy on 1 frame, then the duped item on the next. Alright, and he just nailed the cutscene skip, so we just played that first song, the Sonata of Awakening, and then he played Ocarina on the right frame. Now we're going to Great Bay. We're going to be starting that egg collection, getting that hook shot. Not rupees, my bad. Oh, I didn't realize you could get Super Swim here too, looks like. Alright, so he just did a jump slash recoil, and he's going right into Pinnacle Rock. We intentionally go into Pinnacle Rock versus Pirate's Fortress first. Those are the only two places that have Zora eggs. Oftentimes, in case that you are not early enough to go to Pirate's Fortress, when you go to Pirate's Fortress, you want it to be nighttime, because on nighttime, the pirates' visions are all shortened. That helps with a very specific, important Japanese-only trick coming up. Japanese only because on the English version, that pirate is moved up just a little bit. At least, I think that's what Kira said a while ago. And that causes us to be caught as soon as you go into that area that we're going to be seeing. It's the room with the hookshot, if you're familiar with it. These eels can take some getting used to kill, but they're not too bad once you get used to it. Oh, he's backwalking here. Interesting. I'm not used to seeing runners just, yeah, sink there and then magic shield in place. I'm used to seeing them spin around while swimming, or, swim around and then use magic shield while swimming. So, there are 3 Zora eggs down here in Pinnacle Rock, where the eels are, and then 4 up where the hookshot is in Pirate's Fortress. Going back to those duped eggs, we only need 3 in this spot, and we want 4 when we're in Pinnacle and when we're in Pirate's Fortress. Of course, there are 4 eggs there, but we want to delay the final item we're going to be duping over until after we do a certain hover that's coming up that I hope Zeepo will do. We'll see. Alright, Claire is just now raising the temple. It is nighttime. She has the option of going directly forwards for Pirate's Fortress if she wishes. It's entirely her choice at this point. A super swim going all the way to Pirate's Fortress. Nearly so. Oh. Claire is using an interesting backup. She must have used her fairy earlier on. So there's another fairy back behind the marine lab, so unless she skipped doing them earlier, and I think that's a good backup for if you were to fail it. Otherwise, you would want to probably just Song of Soaring back to the Woodfall Owl, and then reload the area to get the fairy pot back. That would be a lot faster. It saves a soar. Saves a Song of Soaring. Alright, Claire is doing what we like to call YOLO dives. Was doing YOLO dives. Never mind. So now she's got to go through the maze with the signs. It is what it is. Sometimes the dolphin dives just don't work out, and you have to sacrifice going for fast by going for safety. And unfortunately, this maze here is as jank as possible. So she gets to retry it after voiding there. From going just touching the side is really all it takes. And now she's nailing the dolphin dives. Nice job, Claire. Keep it up. Alright, and going for the extra couple dolphin dives at the very end. Okay. So, On Zeepo's side again, we like to skip the sewers, which you're probably familiar with if you've played through Pirate's Fortress. But skipping them just saves so much time. Looks like Zeepo pulled bottle by accident. Alright, here's Hookshot Room. We're about to do something called a long jump. That's going to be taking damage right to the next to a ledge. That's going to boost our jump, give us a lot more distance to cover. Not necessarily height, I think, but but distance for sure. And we can make it right in front of that pirate, just barely. Any later, and I've heard you can fail it from being too late, or just from being just a little off with the setup, of course. But we got it first try, so celebrating tonight. Alright, egg number 1 in Pirate's Fortress. And we're coming up on the hook shots. On Claire's side, if you just noticed, she did a little bit of an ESS shuffle and then pulled the ocarina underwater. That can be done by similar inputs to the bottle dupe. Essentially what you do is you just press the item that you have in your hand, specifically bottled item in your hand, the Zora egg in this instance, and then the sword or some other item that works a frame later. And then you pull that item out in a way that you are using it as an ocarina, hence the name Ocarina Items. Then we do Song of Soaring back to the lab. Alright, we have a fun trick coming up here on Zeepo's part. If he's gonna do it, I don't know his chew count, so I think he's doing pretty well on chew count. He's not going for it. Darn it. Alright, so the new, one of the newer tricks, newer setups that we have, is going up to the hookshot target up to the right, not the one that you can see there, but the one up top. And then we do a couple megas, basically, and we go into the loading zone on the backside. So just like all the other ones, we skip all the pirate fights. No pirate fights at all. But instead we have pirate fights here. And it looks like he's duping his bottle now instead of later with that fish that he caught earlier, as unnecessary as it seemed to catch that fish. We use it for bottle dupes, specifically over bombs. Now normally, you need to have 0 of an item to bottle dupe over it. But if you saw, he still had 2 bombs left and he bottle duped over it. You can do that simply because of the fact that you're not allowed to bring out a 4th explosion item, whether it's bombs or chews or I assume powder keg, but honestly I don't know. So we use that restriction to bottle dupe. Otherwise, typically it's just an item that you cannot use or have 0 of, like I mentioned. He also dropped that egg there specifically during the cutscene, so you wouldn't have to stand still and do it. He can multi-purpose the cutscenes. Yeah, it had 2 cutscenes play at one time, basically. The pirate cutscene and the fish dropping cutscene. To get it out of his bottle, of course. So that he can put the final egg, or the second to final egg, into his bottle. Grabbing that extra heart for safety. That'll be for Georg coming up. I think, no, there's a fairy there. He might have just grabbed it for fun, I guess. Or in case the fairy decided to not cooperate. They're RNG, so they can go in whatever direction they please. So if they don't go towards you, then you have to chase them. It's just annoying. This final pirate egg, you are able to do a jump slash recoil. Like so. And voila. You are finally here where the last Zora egg is. Yeah, it's pretty cool, Majora. You're able to keep a lot more bombs than normal than 0, so that always helps with routing and saving on bomb collection trips of any kind. Okay, on Claire's side, she just got the super slide in Pirate's Fortress. Let's see if she gets the first try pirate long jump for the hookshot room long jump. Nailed it. That setup can be a little annoying sometimes, but as long as you understand where the inconsistency comes from, you can usually avoid the fails. On Zeepo's side, as long as he gets it, we're going to have another couple of cutscene skips coming up. First up for the New Wave Bossa Nova learning cutscene skip. And that is going to be another trick where you have to pull the ocarina or pause on a specific frame right before it plays. That way you can leave before the cutscene even begins. Thankfully, it's one of those cutscenes that item givings that the item gets put into Link's inventory as soon as the cutscene starts. So, as soon as it tries to initiate. And it is not this cutscene, but the next cutscene he will be attempting to skip. Looks like Claire is going for the old egg route. So, Claire is starting out with the recoil egg, jump slash recoil egg after the hookshot egg. This was retimed by Gigo to be just a couple of frames slower. Riley discovered that it was actually slower than the new egg that we did, that Zeepo did, quite some time ago. So a little bit of shared credit, I suppose, there. Largely Riley's, though. And Zeepo got the cutscene skip, and he's song soaring right to Zora's Cape, right in front of where we're going to be going into the Great Bay Temple. Still going for that fairy, even though he has full health. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Zeepo is probably a little nervous right now. I would be too. Or maybe he has habits that he likes to kill that. Okay, looks like Claire also went for bugs, and now she's gonna have to drop more bombs because they all blew up before she got the dupe. Just gotta get it real quick. Man, she's really rushing it. She's trying to catch up, but I think it's hurting her. On Zeepo's side, it looks like he failed the New Wave Bossa Nova skip. Or, no, we call that Turtle cutscene skip, sorry. We call it TCS. He failed TCS, so he's going to be watching this cutscene. Otherwise, you would normally be pausing on a certain frame, just like the other cutscene skips, and then side hopping frame by frame, pausing everything, buffering it, until you get into the load zone. Then you go back out, and then you attempt, typically you would attempt Pirate cutscene skip, which is yet another cutscene skip. PCS, right after TCS specifically. Let's see if he goes for it. He's going to start by hookshotting out onto the left side of the tree. Oh, wait, he is not going for it, never mind. Gotcha. Yeah, Zeepo said it's not worth it at this point, because he still has not gone into Zora Hall. So, if you remember when Claire went in, there was that cutscene that was specifically showing off the Zora Hall area, as you see in most Zelda games. Because of that, it is no longer worth it to go for a Pirate's cutscene skip. It would simply take longer. Thank you, Zeepo. Now we get to see all the cutscenes in Great Bay. Well, except for the New Wave Bossa Nova. Okay, Claire is coming up on her final egg. She just got it. Gonna be heading back to... Alright, she got the underwater ocarina item. So now she's going to be heading straight to the Great Bay, depositing the rest of her eggs. Gonna get that New Wave Bossa Nova. If she gets all the cutscene skips, she's gonna be a lot closer to Zeepo, so I would not count her out anymore. I would not count her out, like I keep saying. Alright, as we can see on Zeepo's side, just got what we call the Great Bay Temple BK skip, Boss Key skip, GPT BK skip. Essentially what you do is you do a little setup to get out of bounds from that corner on the right as Zora with a bomb down there that pushes you just barely through the corner. And from there, you do what we call a recoil flip to get from that out of bounds area where there's a little bit of a floor left right on over to the loading zone for the boss for Georg. It is a separate room, so it requires a loading zone, and all you have to do is touch the corner of that room, whatever it is, to get there. The loaded zone itself, and it is quite large, but it still requires a pretty good recoil flip. And it's just a couple frames. Use the bomb, shield it in midair with a backflip, and that propels you backwards. Here's a classic Georg fight. You stun him as he charges you, usually with either hookshot or bow. Maybe in rare instances you would use Zora fins. Then you want to try to push yourself between Georg and the wall with an angle such that you will not bonk for one, and two, you're going to be able to jump back, dolphin dive right back up onto the top platform. He missed the angle a little bit, so he had to do the backup, which is to just stay on the water. And don't do the dolphin dive at all, otherwise it will put you back onto the floor after the cutscene, because that's just how cutscenes work. Water physics don't work at all. So it teleports you to the spot, and then you just drop. Thankfully he was swimming, and he was able to get back onto the platform nice and safely, doing the same strat as before, and finishing it out. Grabbing that heart container for safety, as anybody with sanity would. And we finally have our first remains, third boss in the game. From here on out, the goal is going to be skipping this Giants cutscene that happens at the end of every boss. We do this through a stored Song of Time. We'll be seeing what that looks like later. Oh, on Claire's side, we can see... Never mind. Also not going for Pyatt's cutscene skip, but she almost did. That was the beginning of the setup for it. What you do is you start out by going to the left tree, the left side, and then hookshotting the left side of that left tree. That will put you just barely out of the cutscene trigger that loads up the load zone itself, you could say, for the Great Bay Temple and this cutscene here. Just barely out, I might add. And then from there, we would do a time stop. We would go into the cutscene trigger, and then we would go over to put it simply, we would go into the Zora Hall load zone, load up Zora Hall, go back out, hookshot the tree, as if we were going to the Great Bay Temple, and the cutscene does not play in that instance. Let's see if my ADR routing is correct. Next up, we're going to be going to Woodfall Temple. We're going to see if Zeepo has managed to relearn the Unco Man strats, quote unquote, to save a bomb and a mega. It's another BK skip. It's a setup for the BK skip in a Woodfall Temple that saves a fair bit of time and explosives, and is extremely difficult to do. You kind of roll in place. It's a little easier to see, honestly, than to explain. But you kind of roll in place by going towards the ledge as you roll for the mega. So that saves some distance that you have to cover right there. And then a lot of shenanigans that I'm just not aware of. I've never done it before. Do I think that's really a race strat? I can dream. Come on, Zeepo, you know you want to. Just kidding, you do what you want to do. Alright, here we are. The temple is already raised. Claire is finally, I think, finishing up Georg just now, so let's see. Nope, that's phase 1. Alright, so Claire just got the, let's say, the optimal way to do phase 1, basically. Without bow, I think it is. And was able to get right up onto the platform immediately. That stops Georg from trying to swim around and trying to eat you. Saves a little bit of time. The hookshot trivializes the Woodfall Temple. Over on the left side, we can see Zeepo going right up to the torch. There we go. and skips a couple of flowers that you would have to go through as Deku. Hookshots this torch coming up. Skipping probably about a third to a half, maybe a little more than at the temple. And going for the bow. Really quick mini boss fight here. Claire's side, everything is going well, just now finishing up Great Bay Temple. She is catching up. Looks like Zeepo did a jump slash or something. I'm sorry, trying to pay attention to 2 runs at once. So normally in this fight, you would do something called Power Crouch Stab, or PCS. A different PCS than Pirate's Cutscene Skip. And so in this game, just like Ocarina of Time, and specifically on Japanese versions, not on English versions, we have something called Power Crouch Stab. It takes on the value of the last attack that you did, so typically you would want to do a jump slash that does double damage from the normal slashes that Link does, and then just crouch stab on any enemies, including that Dynalphos. Usually cuts the fight in, I would say about half, but I don't know. Alright, on Zeepo's side, we can see the beginnings of a Song of Time storage. So, you Ocarina dive off of a ledge, and you void as you are playing a Song of Time. This stores a Song of Time, of which we will bring up later, and store and use the Song of Time to skip the Giant's cutscene. Skip. And here we are. This is the beginning of the Woodfall Temple boss key skip. We get onto this pillar with a hover, a small one. We Zora ledge grab is what that's called. Clip into here, ledge clip, Zora ledge clip I mean. We do a mega in this spot. And we do a couple of other megas. That is a mega side hop until finally we make it. Uh-oh, that was close. There we go, that's better. Another mega side hop into the load zone. So, as with the fairy fountains, you can imagine, and the Great Bay Temple boss key skip, the load zone for the bosses are all loaded in the temple. For the map that leads to the boss rooms is what I mean. So if you get there out of bounds, it counts. And here we are. Looks like Zeepo is going for spins, I think. There we go. Alright, so now he's trying to do spin attacks on Adalwa. And as long... Oh, that's spicy. Okay, so if you bring up a little bit of the text box, that's going to bring up the stored Song of Time from earlier. That's going to come up later. But now he has to kill Adalwa without using the A button whatsoever. And he also can't pause, so he can't bring up the bow. Usually you would use the bow to stun Adalwa and go up after him. Not usually, it's a little slower to do that, depending on the RNG. The spin attacks are a little faster. Alright, and he finally got him. Good. That was a bit of a scary fight. But he had plenty of HP, so it wasn't that bad. So, you can't collect that heart container, otherwise it will override that store Song of Time. What he's going to do is he's going to press A right as he turns around, and that's going to... Oh, that looked a little early. That's going to save the remains. So the remains get written to your inventory as soon as he starts turning around. So if you use the Song of Time to save with a yes, it's also going to save immediately. Then you're going to save with the remains in place. Okay, it did work. You can see the Adalwa's remains in there. And then you can just reset after like you did, and that completely skips all the Giant's cutscenes. In addition to that, it sets us off into a third cycle. Or the next cycle in play anyways. This cycle, things get a little dicey. We had the dreaded lullaby skip split coming up. Alright, Claire's getting the bow now. She's saving a little bit of time on her splits, I will say. There's that East Clocktown 100 rupee chest I mentioned earlier. As Zora, it's pretty fast to get. And now we have something called Speedrunner's discount coming up. Oh man. So, in this game, as you buy things, the rupee counter ticks down fast, but not fast enough, so to speak. So what you do is you buy 2 sets of shoes, which would normally be at the cost of 80 rupees, for the low price of 69 rupees. Oh man. Wait, why are we going to Woodfall though? What could that be for? That's very simple. We don't have any owls that we can access to go to Snowhead. So, instead, we just go to the Woodfall one, which is on the entire opposite side of the overworld map. That sounds like an effective strategy, right? Not only that, we go to this small area called a fairy fountain. That's right, you guessed it, just like earlier, we're going to be doing another fairy fountain alternate exit. This time, we're going to be taking the Woodfall one, and a short ride over to Snowhead. Just like we go from Great Bay off to the opposite side of the map to Ikana, we did the same from Woodfall right on over to Snowhead. I'm going to use a different strat here. We have a lot more shoes that we can blaze through. Oh, whoa. So, we're just going to do side hops. It's a little faster than just using megas, and on top of that, a lot easier. A whole lot easier. So, Snowhead Lullaby Skip. If you're not familiar, this is what it looks like. Do a couple slashes to kind of simulate ISG to prevent falling off. Not technically infinite, but the frames might as well be infinite. Nice. Okay. Zeepo got arrows. That is important for later on. The RNG was on his side. So, we're going to be doing a super slide right here in this spot. And there's about a 2 in 3 chance of it working successfully. The goal is to super slide from here, past the fairy fountain, and past that wall. That's going to get us into a little cubby, and that would be really good if it worked out, basically. This is something that typically you want to buffer just to make sure you get the right frame data and you actually get the super slide, but sometimes it doesn't work out in your favor. So you have to be just right. Alright, we got the super slide, but we got bad RNG. The wind went way too early. If he had kept it going, the wind would have blown him right on into that fairy fountain. So, we have to restart, and we have 4 bombs left, so we have 4 chances. There's a small chance that Claire will catch up big time here. Oh, he got it. Okay, so it looks a little close, getting right up to that fairy fountain loading zone, but he held it, he stuck with it, trusted it, and now he's off to this part, but I think he just... Oh, he didn't. Okay, I thought he dropped ISG there by accident. He didn't. Just me being weird. You gotta do 2 hovers up, otherwise it's either that or you ledge climb, and ledge climbing will cancel ISG, so you would have to get ISG again. And as low as he is on bombs, it's definitely worth it to use the choose. Most runners will use the choose just because it's faster. And in this case, he would be down to 2 bombs, which is not good for Snowhead. You want your bombs for Snowhead. And your choose. Most of your bombs, I think. Finally getting up to here, avoiding all the snowballs. Would have used the chew if he had to blow it up before running into it, but the wind was nice, the snowballs were nice. And he's in the load zone. With Claire in tow. Alright, he's setting up for something called Action Swap, to put it nicely, to quickly. He got it, for 1. 2, he has arrows, which means it won't crash when he does it. He's gonna go for a bomb drop here. Arrow drop here, gets it. And he makes sticks turn into arrows that are lit with fire. They're pretty amazing. So, he melts this ice, goes through the door, and now he's going to do something called Scarecrow Skip. So, normally, there is a Scarecrow right up there. And you can use that to bypass the first part of the dungeon. But, we're speedrunners here. We're never going to get Scarecrow's song. That takes forever. Instead, we skip the Scarecrow entirely, and get this torch just barely. And that is a very tight hookshot. And he's gonna do it again. Oh man. This way he gets to get more bombs at least, so it's not a complete loss, I guess. So, normally in this case, what you're going to do is you're going to get either Deku or Zora. Deku is faster on the cursor movement. Go right into the lava, and that's going to avoid you because wood burns and fish burn in lava too. I don't know why humans don't burn, but it usually works out a little better for us, so I'm not going to question that. There's setup again, a lot faster that time, nicely done. Here we go again, here are these long jumps like earlier, but a little scarier. These are pretty easy to mess up, so you want to take your time usually on them. But if you're going fast, you don't want to take your time, so you risk it. Now we have a Wizrobe, and Claire's coming up. She's coming up on the ramp. Just a couple more wind cycles behind, basically, before she gets into the temple. The Wizard fight is pretty fun. Basically, you just get stick ISG with stick damage, stick jump slash damage, with this 4 times the damage that a normal sword slash will do. And you work out with the hook shots to get the ISG, just for the timing of everything. And you also skip phase 2 in this case by attacking him with ISG, or sometimes another attack like a Goron Punch in other categories, to prevent the second phase from ever starting. It's sort of like a cutscene avoidance, you could say. I wouldn't say cutscene skip, because a cutscene never actually attempts to start, I guess. It gets overridden. Alright, now we are going to do a second Song of Time storage. We're going to clip out of bounds here, with a hover and a mega flip. And void as the Song of Time plays back. Claire's having a little bit of difficulty, but thankfully you can Zora gain her back up through there. And she's going to have to go the long way. So we get to see both ways going this way, so that's pretty cool. Zeepo's making his way back up the rest of the temple with hook shot, skipping many things. Going to do a quick hover up to that snowball area up there, and then fighting goats with another one of those BK skips. But this one's a lot easier than most BK skips. You just do the clip right in front of the door, so you don't have to do a long hover or anything crazy, or even a recoil. Well, you do a recoil flip, but you don't have as much distance to cover. Before that, there is a bit of a hover, but not a long one. Player's doing what we call a weird shot in the business to that chest there. So basically, a weird shot is a glitch that you are able to, that allows you to use the hook shot or bow, but you're able to place Link's head elsewhere, so it's not where you normally are, but out of bounds. That allows you to get that chest pretty easily, among other things that are going to come up in Stone Tower Temple, and then you just go through that door after jumping down, and you're at, what's this guy called? Wizrobe, going for the fire arrows. Over on Zeepo's side, he's about to fight goats. So we have a fun strat here, if you're not familiar. Most people are, I guess, at this point. You go into Goat's blind spot, and after you do that, every once in a while you're going to side hop right and left just to make sure he stays in this blind spot. He's on a timer until his final arrow, and once he does his final hit, he's going to bring up the Stored Song of Time. There we go. Bring up Stored Song of Time. Do equips, and end the cutscene right before the Song of Time text comes up. Or end the fight. Normally you would try to get that cutscene a little sooner, but he messed up the arrow cycles just a little bit. Now he's going to have to walk a little further, backwalk, do what he has to do. He might be putting on Zora mask on for this, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe that's why he equipped it. Interesting strat. Zora backwalks a little faster, and he's going for that magic too. Nice. So, the reason why we had to bring up the Stored Song of Time text box before the end of the fight is rather annoying. This game it doesn't want you to use the ocarina or any of the songs at all before or after the fight ends. So once the portal is active, you take a quick break from the explanation, you can see Claire's side of things. She's doing a different method to store Song of Time, going down to the bottom nearly of Snowhead, and storing Song of Time there with a little bit of a hookshot clip with the torch. Otherwise, it's the same. Yeah, so the reason we have to do it before we have to bring up the Stored Song of Time text before is if we try to bring it up after, then it's simply going to say, hey, you're not allowed to play songs here, buddy. What are you trying to do? You trying to glitch? We don't want that here. And then there's a ... at the end of that statement, and then you're sad. Okay, failed the BK skip first time. Looks like she failed it the second time. She has 2 more tries to get this BK skip before she has to go and get more bombs. And that's like an easy, I guess, 30-second times plus. Alright. She got it, though. She got a 3rd try. She got the Snowhead BK skip. Alright. Zeepo. Where's Zeepo going? Why in the world is he going to Milk Road? Does he want to get Epona's song? No, it's not Epona's song that he wants to get. Although he does want to get this L for safety, but what could it be for? What's the reason? It's for milk. If you haven't been caught up with the ADR scene, then this is going to get very interesting for you. We do something called milk swap in this category, and it is one of the most interesting tricks, I would say. Perhaps I'm biased. But, so, I'm going to explain the trick here instead of going over all of the movement, because it's very simple. He might go for a Hess, he might not. He might hookshot up a tree, he might not. On his way to Stone Tower. So, before Milk Swap was found in this category, you would have to do a lot of hovers and risk getting hit by the keys on your way up to the top of Stone Tower from the bottom of Stone Tower. Instead, what we can now do... he is going for the Hess, nice. What we can now do is do this thing called Milk Swap and a remote hookshot, and finally the result being a hookshot jump in Majora's Mask to go from that hookshot tower that's going to be off to the left, nearly there, when the cutscene ends, the entire way up to the top, right where you see now, that platform there with the blocks. To do this, you have hookshot, a full milk bottle in hand, or not in hand, a full milk bottle, and an empty bottle all in your equips. You do a setup like this. You're going to charge a hookshot, so you're about to release the button, but you don't release the button. Instead, you drink the milk. Like so. And after you do that, what you're going to do is get into position, do a little setup. You're going to pull the hookshot. That's going to activate both that hookshot and the remote hookshot that we just stored, believe it or not. And then both of them are going to fire at the hookshot tower at the same time. And they're going to hit Stone Tower, the hookshot target at the same time, I think. What that's going to do, with this specific setup, with this specific trajectory, all this stuff lines up such that, you're going to see it here in a second, Link just flies upward, does a huge hookshot jump, and it's short enough that you can just barely make it, you don't go too high, and you're in the temple already. Saves probably about 20 seconds with that strat, I think, on the hovers. That's just because of how long it takes to get milk and the rupees and how it works out. But it works out. Claire is getting her milk now. She's not too far behind. She's had several opportunities to catch up, and she is catching up. Zeepo's going to try to do super swim here. There he is. He just clicked through the sunblock with a little setup. Oh, I did not know that's how it worked. I'm going to have to see how that works. So he did a super swim. And he's going all the way over here to get a key. We need that key, of course, to get to a locked door. I don't know if you know how that locked doors work. I think that's the first locked key of the run. The first key of the run, and the only key of the run. So I gotta throw that in there, just in case you didn't know. Now that we're in here, we're going to do a weird shot. We're going to hook onto one of these crates up here behind that wall. We're going to skip this sunblock entirely. Like so. There's a Nejuron here. We're going to try to go for a bomb drop. I think we got it. Yeah, we got the bomb drop. But we do want at least one more. Using the hook shot, that's smart, actually. Prevents you from going there all the way over in case the bomb does not drop. Alright, he got his other bomb drop. Now he's going for it. Gonna do another weird shot here to bypass this huge wall, this huge puzzle. Gonna take a little damage from that fire chest though, and that's going to come into play for this Garrow coming up here. You look on the other side, Claire is using the old setup for the remote hookshot, for the hookshot jump. As long as she gets it, she'll be fine. I've always been worrisome with this setup, but it has worked. I hope that works. No. She pulled the milk out too early. Well, it was not, though the hookshot spot, that red dot was not in the position. So what she's going to do is reset as soon as possible. That way she doesn't have any memes with it, doesn't try to risk it, she's just going to go for it. So the Garrow Mask fight over on Zeepo's side, you take damage intentionally, and then you use a lot of that damage to prevent Link from taking damage while he's going towards you and things. So that way it just works out. And you get this beautiful combination of a fight that just works out just nicely, and it's fast and great. And nice slash. Okay, in addition to getting the light arrows, which is in this chest, I did not mention that, Zeepo's going to try to do this fast death warp, and he did get the right frame for it. It's multiple frames, but it does get tighter as you get the wrong frame. Oh, maybe it wasn't the right frame. You have to really master that text, and doing so skips this little jingle, this death tune, and that's what we call a fast cutscene skip, or a fast death warp. Instead, he got a slow death warp, which isn't too slow, thankfully. And now he's going to flip the tower by doing a little setup and something called Extended Bow. So with Extended Bow, we can shoot right through this platform, hit the backside of this crystal switch, and off to Inverted Stone Tower Temple we go. Alright, just like any other dungeon you would do, you're going to store a Song of Time coming up here. Usually people are going to do it right after this, right in this room here. Some people do it in different rooms. It's all a matter of preference, really. Some are faster than others. There we go. We got that Ocarina dive, which you just slash and pull Ocarina on the right frame on. Then he's going to go for it. Oh, he's going left side. Does he have to choose for left side? Oh, I didn't even notice. Did he actually get... Oh, duh. He's just getting magic. My bad. Yeah, there are constant magic drops over in those boxes, so they're good. Good to get. So here's another sunblock clip. And then we do another recoil here. We're just trying to skip through this room as quickly as possible. We don't have any reason to be in there anymore. Now here's another quick setup for a recoil. And we're going straight to the bridge with the Igor. We don't really care about the Igor, but he is in our way. And killing him is what undoes the bars on that door. So we're going to do that. We're going to kill him and open those bars so that we can go right onto the boss. Without the boss key, of course. Who wants to get the boss key? We're going to do a weird shot here. We're not going to do a weird shot here. Zeepo's doing different things. He's going straight for the boss key skip. You have to go up to the top to do that. A lot of people, including myself, will go for supplies. There's a bunch of pots down there, and that just helps for, getting magic, hard up the speed, some bombs in case you don't have any, which we do use on Twin Mold, believe it or not, and other things. Okay, he's going for the pots that I just mentioned. I don't know why I didn't do a weird shot. Maybe he didn't want to do it, I guess. Anyways, usually you would hookshot the B-most with the weird shot. But we're going on anyways. So here's the setup. 3 slashes against the wall with the bomb going. It can be the sloppiest recoil flip ever. It just needs to be a recoil flip, and you're in. So, why didn't he keep light arrows out there? That it was intentional. He got fire arrows out because blue Twin Mold, there are 2 Twin Molds if you didn't know, one red, one blue. Blue Twin Mold is weak to fire arrows. And of course, red is weak to ice arrows. Few runs ever get ice arrows. It's mostly just glitchless and bug limit at this point. So we just use the fire arrows on blue, dropping that bomb right there for maximum damage. This very first cutscene, because of the cutscene, they always do the same thing at first, so you're always able to know that you're able to do that. Unfortunately, he just got blocked by red. GG, red. And I think he just needs one more fire arrow hit on blue before blue is down. Taking a couple cycles, unfortunately. And missed the fire arrow twice. Third time is a charm. So, blue is down, that just leaves red. And for red, I don't know if people normally equip light arrows. I think I do. And then you can keep light arrows on for Majora if you do your equips right. Actually, I don't know if it works like that. Alright, so he's opting to go for Magicless Fight. So, with Magicless Fight, just normal arrows, you're able to just spam arrows as much as you want, as long as you don't run out of arrows and you kill Red Twin Mode before everything comes out. It does require 10 arrow hits, so it can get Monka. The alternative is to use either light arrows or fire arrows. I think light arrows do more damage. I don't really know anymore. And then the goal is to just load up on the damage, and then after you're out of magic, then use that. Then use, normal arrows. Alright, there he goes. Each twin mold has 20 hit points, and he just took all 40 hit points from both twin molds. Not the worst fight ever. So, we're still in a good race. We're still in a good time for Zeepo. Alright, brought up that stored Song of Time before the boss fight ended, of course, and got the Giant's cutscene skip. Claire's coming up on light arrows here. We can see if she gets the fast death warp. Oh wait, did she have too much HP anyways? I didn't even see it. Yeah, she had too much HP, so instead she's just gonna Song of Soaring out. My bad. Zeepo is going to go to Majora, but he's got to make a pit stop to get some supplies first, namely a stick. And more important than a stick, you want to get bombs. You have to do a hover without Goron. Well, even with Goron. So we need bombs to do a hover to get in through the, past the barrier that leads to the clock tower, the top of it. Everything still is loaded like normal, but you still have to bypass the stairs that are acting like a door or a gate, you could say, that you can't open. And we do that with bombs and a hover. And we try to get some other supplies, like a stick from the Deku Baba. That just helps with damage output for Majora, specifically Incarnation and Wrath. And he got his bombs. So he's going to go right back. That second try is what we call it. He got it from the second or third try, I guess. No, yeah, second try. That's pretty good. I don't remember anymore. Depends on which patch you got it from, first, second, or third patch. And he got it pretty quick. Unfortunately, it's RNG, but he did get it. And we call this the Frank Z hover. The reason is, we need that doggo. If we didn't have that doggo here, we would need to get, shoes or to use a different strat for this. Probably just a different strat for this. That dog is necessary for the angle change that he did in the air. So he did a 180 while hovering, and the only way to do a 180 while hovering is to do an angle change. And to do an angle change, you need to unlock the camera. You do that by targeting something, but you can't target any. You need something to target in order to target. So that's why we bring the dog with us, so that we have something to target. And with that, we are on to one of the final cutscenes of the game on Zeepo's side. Claire's following up behind, getting up towards Twin Mold here soon. I hope she stored Song of Time. I didn't notice. Ooh, alright, so she's trying to go for the weird shot, but she got a first, I guess we can call him a 0th framer. 0th framers are useless, typically. But she got it second try, so all is well that ends well. Now she's got a hookshot back up, just like Zeepo did for the BK skip. Alright. Claire's coming up on Twin Mold while we got the Giants cutscene grill, and that works out pretty well. We focus on one and the other. Alrighty. Claire's taking down the first one on a good pace for Twin Mold. Okay, Claire's equipping those light arrows. She's going for the extra damage output from the magic. Usually it comes down to preference. Some people will say that one is faster than the other. The magic arrow fight is generally easier, but you have to wait longer between shots. The only reason it's easier is because your damage output is upped, and of course that means that you have less arrows that need to make contact. It's especially important if you don't have many arrows left, but you do have magic still, which probably wouldn't happen actually, now that I think about it. Alright, out of magic, down to a normal arrow fight after all. We can find out if Zeepo is going to go for the super slide or a Hess on the moon. But it's going to take another minute or two to find out. Or maybe he's going to save it for incarnation. Alright, Claire is making me a little nervous on that arrow count. Okay, she did it. Wow, that was a good last shot. He was barely poking his tail out. She still nailed him. Nice job. Nice job, Claire. Okay. And she has her Stewart's long time up, so she's doing what she's supposed to. Also putting on Zora mask at a time. Interesting. Alright. Both parties have Majora remaining. Alright. Zeepo is coming up on the moon. Got a super slide. And he was able to talk to Majora immediately after turning around. Claire is coming up on a double palm drop. And makes it in. Alright. Despite falling behind earlier, Claire is catching up. She's only like a minute or two behind, I would well, oh wait, no, I'm not thinking about all the cutscenes. Claire still has the Moon's giant cutscenes. Alright, Zeepo's coming up on Majora. Typically, what we will do is use Rangs to stun the first phase of Majora, then use light arrows as max damage output, I think. I think they do the same damage as fire arrows, but it is. Light arrows are better for later on in a fight, less equips. Unfortunately, Majora Mask Phase has a lot of iframes, so you have to wait a good chunk of time before throwing those rangs to stun him. But he gets it. Now, if we're lucky, Majora Incarnation, second phase, is going to run right into Zeepo while he's using that Zora Magic Barrier attack. And that would stun Majora immediately. And he gets it. The RNG is on his side, so he's going to use stick damage, jump slash damage, to store that damage, and then use crouch stabs. And he's going to alternate between that and normal slashes just to make sure she gets stunned on that next time. Nice. Interesting strat. And with that, we are off to Majora's Wrath, the final stage, the final boss, the final chapter in the speedrun. Gets light arrow stun. Majora Wrath does not avoid the light arrows, but he gets hit by one of the beams, and then he messes up the power crouch stab timing. So if you get the timing just right, he will not be able to run away. We stun lock him. Thankfully, he's now around the outer end of the arena, and the remains will not attack him. And he gets it with a final time of 1:35:45. GG, Zeepo. GG. We have ourselves a victor. We have all the GGs coming out in chat now. I know. I know. Yeah. Dude, you didn't do Pirates Fight Skip. I am disappointed. You got on my case for it. Pirate Fight Skip. Oh wait, hold on. Was that? He turned his mic on stream. He's not actually talking here. GG. You got me good there, Zeepo. Okay, Claire is coming up on a Majora. Gonna resume gameplay very shortly. We'll be able to see if she gets the Super Slide or goes for a Hess. She has plenty of bombs. She can even go for a strat on Incarnation, in which she stuns Incarnation with a bomb placed in the middle of the arena. For whatever reason, the devs put a secondary hitbox right there. It's like the size of one unit or something. And if you hit that with a bomb, it stuns the actual Incarnation. Not sure why it works, but it works.
Hello.
Hello, visitor. How are you?
I'm alright. How are you?
Doing good. I just heard about your mistake, your least favorite mistake being TCS.
Yeah, just because I was like, I wanted to get all the cutscene skips. And TCS is just like the one I usually don't fail. It's usually Woodfall Rising.
Yeah.
So when I got it, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I shouldn't be hearing myself. Oh, that's
don't watch
why.
my stream. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, so I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah, I wanted to take things safe for races.
Okay. All right. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I was just talking about you didn't go for Pirates by Skip. That's all.
Oh yeah. I thought about it, but then
Yeah.
when I wasn't high enough in Fairy Fountain to save the extra chew, I was like, not worth it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, how do you feel? You beat Claire. Claire is currently coming up on phase 1.
I actually think Claire played really well.
Yes, she did.
She had like a couple of big mistakes, which were sad, but other than that, I think she played better than me, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
It
my
is what it
biggest
is.
mistake was TCS and Enter Snowhead. They both lost me about over a minute, I think.
Mhm.
And then the rest of it, I think, was just me taking it really, really safe, just
Yeah.
so I didn't lose the run at any point.
Good strats. Good strats. There were a couple times she was coming up on you. I thought she might actually catch up to you despite all those cutscene fails. She
Yeah, when I
didn't.
felt
But
TCS, I was like, oof, if she gets TCS and PCS, then
yeah,
this is gonna be real close.
it could
I
have
even
been.
was scared for a Majora death, honestly, because if she didn't fail Milk Jump, then Majora death would have been it for me.
Yeah.
But Majora was very, very nice. I was sad I didn't get the gold there because I should have gotten a gold with how good the RNG was.
Yeah. You did get hit by that one beam hit I noticed early
Oh
on in the
yeah,
Wrath
yeah,
fight, though. Yeah. So I wouldn't be too bummed about that.
yeah. Can't get the perfect split.
Right.
Um,
Claire's coming up
well,
on phase 2. We'll see if she uses the bomb strat.
she saved the bomb.
She got 2 bomb drops.
Oh dang! I
Yeah.
wish.
We all do. I don't know if she has bombs equipped though. I didn't notice.
I think it's always an extra equip, just because you have to have lighters and stick.
Gotcha. Yeah, she's not going for it.
That's fine.
She
That
got an
wasn't
early
too
arrow
bad.
hit. Yeah, that was pretty good.
See, I started going for the spin struts to re-trip Incarnation
Yeah, I noticed. That was pretty good.
because I found it very inconsistent to do the crouch stab one.
Yeah, I always think it's an RNG fest whether she's gonna go or not. So is it just the spin that you do, or do you? I think you did slashes.
I did crouch stabs like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I just walked in front of her and did a quick spin. I think I failed the quick spin. I actually got her with a slash.
Okay, that's what it was. All right. Okay. I'll have to keep that in
Nice.
mind.
Good, Majora.
Phase 3. Oh, no, that is phase 3 done. I was too focused on strategizing, not being a good commentator.
There were also times like I did an extra hover into like PF and stuff just because I was like, is this angle okay? I don't even know.
Yeah.
And like in a run, I would just be like, okay, let's go for it. If it dies, whatever. This run's bad anyway. But
Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
It was let's see, about 7 minutes you saved on her, I think.
Did you see how bad my goat fight was? That was terrible.
Yes, I did. Oh man. You want to talk about that?
I got nervous because I missed a shot and I tried to speed up my shots and I was gonna do five. I was gonna do just 5:10, but because I missed a shot, it becomes like 4:11 almost. And then I missed another one, and I was like, "Dang it! Now it's like 3:12."
You did turn Zora. You remembered to put Zora mask in your equip, so you're able to walk somewhat faster, but still.
Yeah,
you know,
I think you always want to equip Zora right before you go into Blue Orbs.
probably.
You do.
Yeah, GG Claire.
GG.
Yeah, thanks. GG's. It was honestly not that bad of a race, except for a couple oopses by me.
Yeah, you almost really got caught back up with him despite all that. It was close.
Like
No,
I was
serious.
saying, I was like, I think she played better than me.
Yeah,
Just
honestly,
missed some big things.
I think I played really well, except for the mega flips at the beginning, and then I had to reset on Stone Tower Jump. But other than that, I think the run went pretty well, honestly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think if those two things didn't happen, this race would have been like ridiculously close, and you probably would have won. I think.
Yeah, it would have been really close either way, honestly.
Claire.
GG's.
Yeah. Yeah, tell you after. Yeah, GG all.
Yeah, so I don't know, Claire. How did you feel about? Like I know like my goat fight was my snowhead was atrocious. I think that was like my worst temple. I wanted to cry.
So I accidentally jumped into the little pit after the block, after action swap, and then so I lost action swap, and then when I tried to get back up, the freaking Wolfos blocked me for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, I think Snowhead was okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really do anything wrong in there except for that, honestly. And then, you know, if you fail action swap, that's like a 30-second time loss, no matter what. So
Yeah, it's pretty big.
I think my worst temple was probably either Stone Tower or Woodfall. Stone Tower, I messed up the boss fight like pretty bad. I missed like all my light arrow shots, and then Woodfall, it took me a while to get the boss queue skip.
Let me just say the end of your red was ridiculous. I was like, wow, that was like a string of insane shots.
Yeah,
And then the
well,
last one right before the
the
tail
last
went
one
under.
was amazing. It was the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, I missed all those light arrow shots, and I was like, well, crap. I guess I gotta do old any percent fight here real quick. And so I just tried to machine gun the
Kind of did better
arrows.
with the magic, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
I think I had a bad fight for every boss. Like Adola, I missed my quick spins, and I kept getting hit by the spin attack.
You had bad RNG on Adola, yeah.
And then my goat, I failed, and he got the far away cutscene.
Dang, you hate to see that one. I messed up the first 5 shots on Goat, and I had to do an extra cycle. But other than that, it was fine.
Gyrick went fine for me, except for phasing through his body because he's a bad boss.
Yep.
But, you know.
Yeah.
You got the safe secondary fight, so. Yeah.
Dude, I'm just gonna say, I love your strat, Claire, for Gyrick BK skip. Like, I've never not done it since I've learned it. It's just the best.
Which strat? The one
The
that I made
shield
up?
turn. Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
shield turn.
I don't
strat.
even do that. Yeah, it's pretty good though.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, what else happened? I had terrible rupee luck at the beginning and
Oh,
lost
man,
like 30
that's sad.
seconds because of that.
It's better to just go get the chest. It only loses
Yeah.
11 seconds, I think.
But you see, I thought I could get the rupees faster than the 11 seconds. So, but then I got completely owned by the bushes.
Yeah, I don't like RNG rupees.
And I think I lost probably a minute this run to ESS, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a problem going between OT and MM. Is the ESS is so much worse in MM.
I don't
think
know
I
what
failed
all my
the
ESS
last
tricks.
The Hess from the potion shop. What I could not do for some reason. I keep getting this weird camera angle, and then I retry it like 3 times, but I couldn't get it because I was failing ESS.
Oh yeah, I literally only try that one time, and if I fail it, I'm like, okay, I'm taking the time loss. I don't want to deal with this.
It's not even that bad. It's only like 10 seconds, but I refused. I literally refused. I was like, no, I'm just gonna keep trying. And then after the third try,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was fun. I'll have to practice freaking that milk jump or whatever
Do
the
that-
trick's
you
called.
should do the new one. It's actually free.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
didn't
send
know
it
there
to you
was a
after.
new one.
I'll send
Yeah,
it to
there's
you
a new
after.
one. It's
Okay, cool.
It involves no diagonals too.
It's
Oh
the
yeah,
best.
my diagonal is terrible. I have to manually line it up.
Oh, it's not even diagonals. It's whatever reason that spot there is just inconsistent no matter what you do with diagonals. Sometimes you get this one with the save state. Sometimes you get a different. It's just weird. Nobody was able to figure it out.
It might be having to do with like the camera. So what you could do is a targeted shield turn. But I don't know. I've never tried it because there's a new strat.
Yeah, I was about to say it doesn't sound like I need to even worry about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because the new one just involves a left shield turn. So pog.
all right, well, anyways, GG's Zeepo.
GG,
Good race.
Claire. Yeah, that was good. I had fun. I'm always nervous as hell at the beginning though.
I was only nervous during Woodfall. I always get nervous there.
I don't know why. I'm just like, I let that stuff get to me.
Yeah, it's understandable.
But yeah, GG. I had fun.
All right. We will see you both in your next respective brackets.
Okay, sounds good.
Where's our restreamer at? What's he doing?
Right here. I'm gonna wrap this up now. Make sure to give our runners a follow, Zeepo and ClaireLynnD. Thank you to Druck for commentating. And for stuff that's coming up on ZSR, there's the link to the schedule. So that'll be it for us. We're going to go raid ZSR main, also doing Majora's Mask, but of the randomizer variety. So, see you all next time.
Thank you, ZSR. Thank you, Jake ZSR.